Hello, Wayne speaking.
Hi, Wayne. It's Sarah here from the Centre for Community-Driven Research. How are you?
Yeah, hello. Good.
So we are going to start the interview now, and over the course of the interview, I'll just be asking you step by step with your experiences on mitochondrial disease.
Sure.
So we will have the first part of the interview. I'll be asking it in regards to your diagnosis. After that, there'll be questions about treatment. And the last part of the interview will give you a chance to talk about what you think could happen for future improvements in support services. So
Yeah.
do you have questions before I get rolling?
No, not really.
Mm-hmm.
Not really.
Okay. So we'll
Yeah.
start with when you first started to notice symptoms of mitochondrial disease. Can you describe how that was for you?
Um, yeah, so when I first
Yep. So
was
when you first...
diagnosed,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well,
What were the
it
symptoms
was,
that you first started to notice?
yeah, well, I was a bit, not surprised, but I didn't know anything about mitochondrial. It was
Mm-hmm.
all something new, and it was,
Yep.
what's this condition? And how did it come about? And
Yep.
so I had this uncertainty about what this was, because I was just having these symptoms, and
What were the
and
symptoms you had?
well, I was having weaknesses. I
Mm-hmm.
was, getting fatigued. I was,
Okay.
and then it got to the stage where I wasn't able to move down the left side, arms or legs and that sort of stuff. So initially they wanted to rule out a stroke.
Mm-hmm.
So they checked all these initial things and worked out that I wasn't having a stroke, and
Yep.
got first referred to a neurologist, and then later to a neurogenetics or whatever. Yeah.
Yep. And how did they come to diagnose it as mitochondrial disease? What tests did they
Well, that
do?
took, it was probably, like 6 to 12 months or
Yep.
so, because we're going back now about 10 or 11 years now, so going back on memory. But it took a while, and they took a number of different tests. So I had to have EEG. That's, I think, the one where, they put the thing on
Mhm.
the head and check the electrodes in the
Mhm.
brain impulses or whatever.
Yep.
And then to have a muscle biopsy. They
Mhm.
took a bit of muscle and tested it.
Yep.
Spinal tap thing where they took out fluid from the spine, numerous blood
Yep.
tests, and so I had MRI and all that sort of stuff. So I had like half a dozen different types of tests
Yep.
until they then confirmed that I had a
Mitochondrial.
mitochondrial condition. Yeah.
Sure. Sure. Did you ever talk to anyone about having a test to see if you have any genes or biomarkers?
Well, in that questionnaire survey that I filled out,
Mhm.
I think I said yeah, because I'm sure at
Yep.
some stage they did testing that they had to send interstate to have it analysed or something or other. Because I was,
Yep.
going through the Royal North Shore,
Yep.
I'm sure because then it was looking, because being male, apparently it's more probable to pass it on
Mhm.
to family
Yep.
through the female side, but they
Yep.
still checked it out. So, yeah.
Sure.
obviously it was passed through to me because looking at my mother now, she's not been diagnosed because she's now in her 70s, but looking at her, I can see all these similarities to mitochondrial in her.
Yeah. That was just never looked into
and
at the
spoken,
time.
yeah, that was my mother, and then, you know, what she's told me of her grandmother, sounds like she had something similar, and it sort of like skipped my grandmother, so it went from, my mother's grandmother and mum seems to like have it, and then it's come to me, and I've had a more severe case of it than what mum,
Yep.
If that's any help.
Yes. And when you were diagnosed with mitochondrial disease, how much did you know about it?
Well, once they sort of said that's what they're going to be checking, diagnosis and all that sort of stuff, then I just, went to Dr. Google and researched it about what the mitochondrial and all the little bits. So I just, from what, the doctors gave me information on it, and then I said, we can go there and look up some more and all that sort of thing. So I was provided with information, and I then sourced other information about it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in relation to your mitochondrial disease, are you able to tell me your current outlook or prognosis?
I'm supposed to be, I am, and supposed to be on managing the diabetes side, because part of it I've got eye problems, so that's that's been monitored, annually by ophthalmologists, but that's slightly deteriorating. I have diabetes, and that's being monitored, and I'm supposed to control that, and I'm supposed to be, I know I should do better than I am, exercising, and the medication. I had one medication to start with to sort of like control seizures, and then after 12 months or so, they changed that to my current medication that I've been taking for, about 8 years now.
Yep. Okay then. So we will talk a little bit later about treatments that you have experienced. But to start with, I'd like to ask you about the discussions that you've had with your clinicians in regard to your treatment options. So what conversations did you have with your doctor about treatment when you were first diagnosed?
Well, the treatment basically was, to have this medication, and that was basically to try and control the frequency of these episodes, where because I was still, initially I had time off work, but then I returned to work, but then on occasions I would have one of these episodes that varying degree, where I'd either just get too fatigued and had to go home, or there was probably over the course of 7 or 8 years, I was that bad that I actually collapsed and had to get transported to hospital by ambulance, where I was still conscious, but I couldn't move. I lost, So on about 3 occasions that happened at work because I was too stubborn to not stay home.
Yep.
I wasn't feeling quite well, but then,
And they've just boosted you, I guess, with